How would you describe your relationship with AI?
I'm trying not to fall for all its flattery because every time I recommend that it does something, even when I'm correcting its mistakes, it tells me it's a great idea.
Some people on this podcast have referred to AI as a sycophant, like a butt kisser.
Yeah.
Hey, let me just tell you what you want to hear to be in your good graces. And then
Yep.
behind the scenes, maybe I'm not operating in that friendly way that I'm trying to appear.
Yeah, I think it's falling for the same sort of challenges we get into with information bias when we have a belief already and we click on things in social media that align with that belief, and then we see 100x more things that align with that belief, and that makes us feel like our belief is even more true. And so I think AI is falling into that exact same sort of pattern where, in Cursor, it will actually say like, hey, you've asked the last 10 times that the button I'm creating be blue. So do you want me to remember that as a rule, that every time you ask for a button, should I just make it blue? And I can say yes or no. And so those are a little more of the like visible things that it's learning about me. But you can tell behind the scenes, it's learning lots of other things about how to please me in terms of what I'm asking for. And it's getting better and better at that. So yeah, I think that's absolutely true. And I can tell you in terms of running a community of high performers and people that are trying to optimize their minds for being maximally healthy and happy and productive at the same time, there are a lot of people in our community using these tools, and I've seen a few of them really fall prey to almost relationship level connection and reliance on AI systems, saying things that just really at a human level don't make sense, but believing them fundamentally because of conversations that they've had with AI systems.
This podcast is brought to you by B Micro, a company I'm deeply passionate about because I founded it in 2018. It's USDA organic freeze-dried microgreens for everyday nutrition and detox. Sprinkle them on any meal or take them as a capsule to enjoy the many healthy benefits. Shop now at bmicro.farm. Use code STEVE15 to save. Now in Grok and maybe other AIs, it can act like a boyfriend or girlfriend.
Yeah.
What do you think about that, and where are we heading when it comes to relationship with AI?
Yeah, that's a huge question. The mind is powerful. Our minds don't know whether a thought is really happening or it's just something we're thinking about. And so I think we can get a lot of what we need at a human level from conversations that we fundamentally know aren't real or with real humans. So I think there's a place for something there. I don't know if I'm not going to say it's going to replace real human relationships. Like that's, I think, way too far, but can it provide some value? Can it provide similar value to like what a therapist or a coach would provide? I think certainly. I don't think that my therapist necessarily, other than being a good human, has a massive incentive to provide me with the assistance that she provides, other than our economic relationship. If I stopped paying her, I wouldn't expect her to show up. And so that's not too dissimilar to a relationship with an AI, in that there is a human behind that specific therapy relationship, but the motivations maybe aren't as entirely different.
Where do you find your boundary today with AI?
I'm using it for everything I can. I think my boundary around some of my health stuff now, I'm really starting to pull back on using AI for health answers, and not the absolute answer, but I was using it more for brainstorming. Like, what are the 3 things that I should be thinking about with this? And then I would use experts to help narrow that down, or I'd use it to double check the experts of like, hey, what about, you mentioned these 2, but what about this other thing? Okay, that's not relevant here because of this. All right, great, that's helpful. And sometimes they go, oh yeah, that's a great idea. Yeah, I'll make sure to put that in your next blood lab. Let's make sure to look at that too. I'm like, all right.
Yeah, I got good ideas here.
I got a good idea. Yeah. But as many times as they were good ideas, there was as many that were bad ideas, where it's like, well, that's just not relevant to your situation because of this other context. And I usually don't fess up where I got the idea from. It's just like, I was doing some reading about this.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think I'm definitely drawing the line there where I'm not taking actual medical advice from AI.
Sure.
And I also wouldn't be using AI to write code on like mission critical finance apps or something that was already huge at scale without being able to like line by line code level review its work. I'm comfortable using it with like small prototypes that I'm building and things that I want to test in front of a user audience, and even production code. But it's starting to get a little more gray there of like, do I deploy this with real customer data into a production environment without ever looking at a line of code that was written myself? That makes me concerned.
So you shared one of your superpowers is creativity. Do you see where AI can help some with the creativity and maybe an over-reliance can hinder it?
I think it's a great thought partner right now. I'm loving that from like when I say, help me design this application and ask me any questions you have. It's funny because it always responds with either 10 or 20 questions, which I found is like a pattern it's really stuck in. So it's not deciding maybe here are the most important questions, but it's like, I have 10 questions for you. Sometimes the last 3 are pretty dumb. So it's got this like fixed thing that it needs to go towards. But yeah, in terms of that, I think it's a great partner for creativity where it's saying like, would you potentially want to add these features to this system later? Oh yeah, like I hadn't thought about those features. In my normal brain where time and money is how we build software, and those numbers are relatively high, they're in weeks and months and the dollars are in the thousands, I'm not thinking as big. And so then the AI is asking me, well, would you ever want to build this blah, 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 really complex thing on top of it? And I'm like, well, yeah, that'd be a pipe dream. And I realize, oh, well, the AI could just build that for me in 20 minutes. So yeah, I might actually want to build that in the future. So thanks for helping bring that creative idea to the forefront that I was honestly thinking too small. I find it super useful in helping consolidate thoughts. So I have, you probably experienced this too when you're out in nature. Do you have ideas that just pop into your head at a higher rate than other types of environments?